When I begin working with the Bentley Civil Survey tools here in SS3, there's two areas that are primarily I'm concerned with in creating the settings and the preferences for the work we're going to do in Survey. And those are both here in the Project Explorer, and they're in the Civil Standards, also in the Survey tab. If I go to, first of all, my Project Settings and expand the Survey tab there and right click on default settings, I can rename it to make it specific to a client, or I can just hit the properties on it to look at the settings there. I have some general settings over here that control the action of the program, whether it's going to create log files, use annotation scales, have some settings here on how it's going to import points. One important one here is my link codes or my control codes. I can come in and click on lips to control which ones are used and what their abbreviation is. Another important one is right after that is a link code position. I can control whether the control code or the link code is before or after the feature code. I also down here have the option to set the data files that I can be looking at. When I go to load a field book from a file, this can, if I click on here, this can help me set which files I'm looking at. I can narrow down my list by turning them to true or false, or I can also add and delete files in the list here to concern myself with just the ones I'm going to be using. Also have some other options here in the settings as far as least squares adjustments, and finally down here at the bottom we can tell it when we do import a file, do we import a terrain model. We're going to set that to true, what the name of that file is going to be, and what the feature definition is going to be. So let's go ahead and set that real quick because we're going to be importing one later. We're just going to choose a feature definition called existing contours. And we're going to say remove slivers, and let's just actually reduce this to 100 feet when we actually import that terrain model. Alright, and then the other settings we need is actually the feature codes that came from our native SMD file or XIN file. So I'm going to go to feature definitions. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say link survey feature definition, and I'm going to get a dialog that says, you know, where's the XML that came from the SMD, or where's the XIN file. And so I'm going to choose that here. And once that's brought in, we can go look at the feature definitions, and these are all the codes that I have in that XIN file that'll be used when I import my data file.